Okay, good morning. We're going to spend a little bit more time today looking at nuclear power stations and whether the UK should build more or rely on a different way of producing its electricity. First thing to think about is how a nuclear power station works. Now, what we've got is the actual reactor, and the reactor over here is the most important place. What happens is that reactor contains a metal called uranium, and the uranium nuclei split, and that releases energy, and the energy is used to boil the water makes the steam turns the turbine turns a generator, and the generator makes the electricity. Okay, so when we have those radioactive sites, when we have that radioactive reactor, they produce nuclear waste. Now they come in different types. You can have high level waste and low level waste. Stop the PowerPoint and have a look at the video. Okay, so hopefully you've watched the video and you understand that that high level waste has to be dug into the ground. There isn't really a way of getting rid of it. And most of the waste we make is low level, but there is still some high level waste. It's usually those spent fuel rods, which is that uranium which is basically broken down to release the energy. So why is radioactive waste dangerous? Well, all radiation can cause danger. The radiation can damage the molecules, especially things like DNA, and that can cause cancer. And the picture on the right is talking about radiation sickness, so this is higher level exposure to radiation. But even small amounts can increase your risk of getting certain types of cancer. Okay, so I've included a couple of other pieces of information. So this chart here shows causes of death in 2017. And you can see that nuclear power isn't even on the list. It's such a small percentage. So during a typical year, very few people would die because of radiation sickness or a nuclear accident. And this table here also shows which ones are most dangerous by power station. You can see that coal is actually much more likely to cause death than nuclear. Okay, so the levels of actual danger are very small for nuclear power stations. Now those graphs only show you averages for a particular year, and obviously there have been significant incidences which have caused a lot of deaths and long-term sickness, and those are tending to be the things that are reported in the news. So bear that in mind when we talk about safety and about risk. So what I want you to do now, I want you to answer this question. Do you think the UK government should build more nuclear power stations? Now, I want you to write to persuade people to agree with you. What I'd like to try today is to use Google Classrooms to do that, and I've set up a shared document, so please be sensible. All you have to do is go on to Google Classrooms and select our class, which is 9st/SC. Click on classwork and you should see the assignment there. You will be able to write into the tables, and other people will be able to write into the tables and see what you've written. Normal classrooms, please, normal classroom procedures. I can see it and I know what you're doing, so be sensible, please. I'm sure you will. When you've finished entering your information into the tables, then you're going to mark it as done, and then we'll be able to see what other people will say. So you won't want to come back later in the day to see if people agree with you. This is the document you're going to complete. So you can see the top half is advantages of nuclear power. You're going to add your own advantages, disadvantages. So I've started it off, and I want you to add your other ideas about disadvantages of nuclear power. And then at the bottom is where you're going to write down a couple of sentences to say what you think. If you can't get onto Google Classrooms, that's absolutely fine. All I want you to do is upload on to Show My Homework what you think. Try and put in some detail about why you think your point of view. So what's the best reason?